The Valley by Emaar is too far away. That's the feedback I hear from lots of potential investors, but is it actually as far as you think? And does this mean it's a bad investment? My team and I have run the numbers on this investment for a few high net worth families, investors, and directors that are looking to relocate over here. And we've come to the conclusion that for some investors, this could be the best investment they ever make. And for others, this could be an absolute nightmare. So in this video, I'm going to explain the 7 things you must know before buying in the Valley by Emaar and run through the exact numbers so you can understand whether this project is a good investment for your situation or not. Now, developers can realistically deliver around 40,000 new villa units per year, or roughly 400,000 units over the next 10 years. Even if we assume the optimistic scenario from the Valley presentations, around 60,000 of those being villas and townhouses, you end up with roughly 210,000 family homes for a population of 6 million. So the math is simple. Population could grow by 65 to 70%. Villa and townhouse stock might grow by only 40%. That's why in most Emaar communities, 3 and 4 bedroom townhouses don't sit on the market for long, especially in established amenity-rich locations. Families don't buy based on a view from the 40th floor, they buy based on school runs, parks, and how livable the layout is for the next 10 to 15 years. That creates sticky demand and less forced selling in downturns. To see how this plays out in numbers, it's useful to look at a few key Emaar townhouse communities over the last 10 to 20 years. If you go back to early projects like Serena, Al Waha around 2003 and Arabian Ranches 1 in 2004, launch prices for 3-bedroom townhouses were roughly 1 to 1.2 million dirham. Today, similar 3-beds in these communities generally transact around 5.5 to 5.8 million dirham. That means Serena type stock has seen roughly 480% total appreciation, or around 21 to 22% per year on average. Arabian Ranches 1 has seen roughly 350 to 360% total appreciation, around 17% per year. In the next generation, you see the same pattern. Mira and Reem, launched in 2014, started at 1.3 million dirham, now resells around 3.4 million, about 160% plus total, or 14% appreciation per year. Maple at Dubai Hills, which launched in 2015, started at roughly 1.75 million dirham. Resales today are often in the 5.2, 5.5 million, around a 200% plus total, about 20% appreciation per year. Expo Golf Villas, which launched in 2017, around 1 million dirham, now traded around 2.8 million dirham, which is roughly a 180% total appreciation, or 22 to 23% per year. Even in the newer cycle, Arabian Ranches 2 Camellia 2018 launched 1.45 million, now sits at 3.6 million. Eden at the Valley 2019 launch around 1.16 million dirham, which now resells between 2.8 and 3.2 million dirham, implying a 140% increase. These are not speculative brochure numbers. This is how the Emaar townhouse cycle has behaved over 1, 2, and almost 3 decades. The pattern is very consistent. 1. Launch phase. Pricing is relatively accessible and the community is still on the map, but not yet emotionally priced by end users. 2. Handover and early occupancy. Once families start living there every day, the perception changes quickly. The FAR community suddenly becomes normal if the roads are efficient and amenities open on time. 3. Maturity phase. After 5 to 10 years, once landscaping, schools, retail, and community identity are established, these areas start to price in like core family stock. That's when you see the very strong resale numbers. The Valley is still between stage 1 and early stage 2 of this cycle. Now let's position the Valley within this framework. Location-wise, it sits directly on Dubai Al Ain Road, E66, with a 25-minute drive to downtown, Business Bay, DIFC, and DXB Airport, and roughly similar drive times to Dubai South, DWC, on the other axis. The Dubai Al Ain corridor has already had a 2 billion dirham road upgrade, widening to 6 lanes each way and adding multiple interchanges. That work is done. The Valley and the other communities along the E66 are direct beneficiaries. If you compare drive times, the Valley is in the same practical band as Arabian Ranches 1, 2, and 3, the Mac Hills, and other Dubai land villa communities. All of them sit roughly 25 to 30 minutes from the key business hubs in real conditions. The perception that the Valley is far is more about mental maps than actual Google Maps. On pricing, we have Springs, 20-year-old stock, which is averaging around 1,600 plus dirham per square foot on built-up area. Arabian Ranches 1 is closer to 1,800 to 1,900 dirham per square foot. Arabian Ranches 2, which often sits around 1,500 dirham per square foot. And the early Valley resales, such as Eden, are already trading around 1,100 to 1,300 dirham per square foot, despite being early in their life cycle. So the Valley is already moving up the ladder, but is still pricing at a material discount per square foot to the fully mature Emaar townhouse communities, while offering much newer product and more contemporary amenities. Now, the first handovers in Eden have given us a real-world test. Eden launched around 632 dirham per square foot on built-up area with a 70/30 payment plan plus post-handover at entry prices in the 1.2 million dirham range for 3 bedrooms. Those same 3 bedrooms now transact at 2.7 to 2.8 million dirham, with some sales pushing into the 3 million dirham plus range, depending on orientation and condition. That means original buyers who committed 30-40% of their property value during construction have seen their equity multiply faster than the headline price because of leverage via the payment plan. The community is still in early stages of occupancy, and yet resale prices have already normalized towards Dubai Land family benchmarks. At the master plan level, the Valley's offer is clearly built around families. We have a 47,000 meter squared golden beach, effectively a community scale lagoon with sand, F&B and play areas. A 32,000 square meter town center with retail, food and beverage and services. A 20,000 meter sports village with basketball, football, tennis, running and cycling tracks. And a 13,000 meter squared kids area, which they call the Kids Dale, plus more pavilions and zen areas. And not even talking about the schools, the healthcare and the daily service, which is embedded into the wider master plan. In phase 2, Emaar doubled down on this logic. Wider parks, a central loop park which runs through the clusters, and a stronger differentiation between family-focused sub-communities. From an investment perspective, what matters is that families are already voting with their feet. Resale activity in Eden has accelerated after handover, and rental demand is emerging from professionals working in the Al Ain corridor, Silicon Oasis, Academic City, Dubai Land, and eventually the Dubai South, DWC axis. Take into account that with the Dubai master plan, Harvard, Yale, and top academic establishments will be coming to Academic City right next door. Now let's anchor Vindera inside this Emaar townhouse arc. From the brochures and fact sheet, Vindera is a townhouse cluster in the Valley Phase 2 with 352 3-bedroom townhouses, 226 4-bedroom townhouses, a typical Emaar 80-20 payment plan, handover targeted for December 2029. For 3-bedroom townhouses, we're starting with 3.07 million dirham. The built-up area is starting from 2,396 square feet. That implies a starting price of roughly 1,280 dirham per square foot on built-up area. For the 4-bedroom townhouses, we have a starting price of 4.06 million dirham with a built-up area of 2,713 square feet starting. That puts the starting price around 1,495 dirham per square foot on built-up area. If you overlay this onto the earlier Emaar communities table, which we've seen with Serena, Ranches, Mira, Maple, and so on, Vindera is above Eden's original pricing, as expected because Eden was launched in 2019 at a very different point in the cycle, but below the achieved resale price per square foot in the mature stock like Springs and Ranches 1, in line with or slightly below where newer Dubai Land townhouses have launched in the last 18 to 24 months, especially once you adjust for larger built-up areas. Compared with Phase 1, Emaar has clearly adjusted the product based on feedback. We have 3-bedroom townhouses which have larger built-up areas than the early Eden, Nara, Talia launches, which were typically around the 2,000 to 2,100 square feet range. 4-bedroom townhouses now have moved towards the 2,700 plus square footage, which is comparable to older semi-detached villas in other Emaar communities that were originally sold as villas rather than townhouses. Practically, that means that more usable living space on the ground floor. You have a proper family living, dining zone rather than a compressed open plan. We have better bedroom sizes upstairs, particularly for the principal bedroom and the second bedroom, which matters for long-term family occupation. We have deeper back gardens and improved outdoor space compared with early cycle stock, making it more functional for families who actually live there full time. The key point, although you're paying a higher ticket than Eden's original buys, you're not paying for the same product. You're buying into larger, more livable townhouses with more mature amenity planning at a price per square foot level that still sits at a discount to fully priced in Emaar townhouse communities. If you put everything together, Vindera sits at the intersection of two forces. We have structural undersupply of family stock, villas and townhouses, which are a minority of Dubai's total supply, the pipeline which cannot fully catch up if population growth tracks the 2040 master plan and D33 agenda, the proven Emaar townhouse cycle with historical communities which have delivered mid-teens to low 20s annualized price growth percentage over 8 to 20 years. The Valley's first cluster, Eden, is already behaving in line with that pattern at a much earlier stage. Vindera is effectively a later upgraded phase in a master plan that has already passed the "does anyone want to live here" test, located on a corridor where infrastructure is delivered, not just promised, and priced per square foot at a level that still sits between the early cycle Eden and the fully mature Emaar family communities. From a risk-return standpoint, you're not at the absolute bottom of the curve, that was Eden in 2019, but you're also not buying a 20-year-old stock at peak price per square footage. You're entering in the middle of the adoption curve with better layouts, longer payment terms, and a handover date in December 2029 that gives you the wider Dubai Lane, Silicon Oasis, academic city belt time to mature further. Ovel is currently the premium detached villa offering within the Valley and represents the low-density, high-privacy segment of Emaar's suburban planning. The cluster is built around a landscaped central spine, terrace trails, central park, and a sequence of green corridors, which means the majority of villas enjoy direct garden exposure, setback depth, and minimal cross-facing. This is precisely the segment attracting high-net-worth families relocating from Europe and North America. Buyers who prioritize privacy, space, green exposure, and predictable community structure rather than proximity to high-rise zones. The floor plans reinforce this positioning through generous circulation areas, sunlit family spaces, outdoor-indoor integration, and layouts designed for long-term living rather than compact density. For families choosing Dubai as a base, these qualities tend to outweigh traditional investment criteria because the underlying value is comfort, security, and a stable residential ecosystem. Avilia is the upcoming release that mirrors Ovel's positioning and replicates its core architectural templates, offering the same spectrum of 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom luxury and 5-bedroom premium villas. The Avilia collection consists of 139 fully detached homes set within a green-centric master plan that extends the Valley's low-density vision. Starting prices begin at 7.25 million dirham for the 4-bedroom layout and 8.86 million for the 5-bedroom luxury and 13.09 million for the 5-bedroom premium units. The typical built-up areas range from 4,346 square feet for the 4-bedroom villa and 7,857 to 8,883 square feet for the top premium layouts, paired with generous average plot sizes between 6 and 7,800 square feet plus. These dimensions place Avilia clearly in the upper tier of Emaar's suburban villa offering, designed for end users who prioritize privacy, land size, and outdoor living. The payment structure follows the standard 80/20 construction-linked plan, with final handover scheduled for December 2029. With Ovel already positioned as the premium detached product in the delivered portion of the community, Avilia will effectively become the continuation of Ovel, catering to the same relocation-driven demand profile with updated landscaping, refreshed facade variations, and an enhanced greenbelt design. For long-term residents, the appeal is direct, detached layouts with wider plots, multiple living zones, shaded terraces, and a larger upper floor suite, which accommodates families who are transitioning from the more compact European or North American housing standards. Equally important, these clusters provide spatial and psychological separation from high-density apartment zones while still benefiting from the full access to the broader Valley ecosystem, schools, Central Park, the retail core, and the landscape recreational spine. As Dubai's relocation cycle continues to shift towards long-term family settlement rather than transient investment, Ovel and Avilia fit squarely into the type of product that maintains structural demand, low-rise, green-oriented villa communities with predictable master planning and controlled density. There are 3 practical questions I would recommend you ask yourself. Who is your end user? If your future buyer is a family who needs schools, green space, and a 4-bedroom layout, you're aligned with the strongest, stickiest demand segment in Dubai. If your end user is a speculative studio investor chasing short-term yields, you're in a different risk bucket. 2, where is this community in the Emaar cycle? The valley is still in the early to mid phase. Roads are in, first classes are handing over, amenities and schools are being rolled out. Historically, this is where the Emaar townhouse communities have moved from story on paper to established address. 3, how does Vindera's price per square foot and layout compare to your alternatives? When your Vindera is starting to 1,280 to 1,500 dirham per square foot against a 20-year-old Springs stock at 1,600 dirham plus, Ranches 1 at 1,800 to 1,900 dirham per square foot, and even newer Dubai land launches at similar price per square footage but smaller build-ups, the relative value becomes visible. If you'd like, I can help you map this out for your specific budget, including where a 3-bedroom versus a 4-bedroom makes more sense and how the 80/20 payment plan affects your deployed capital and potential equity buildup by 2029. If you want to go deeper than this overview, I've prepared a set of detailed comparison tables across Emaar townhouse communities, including launch prices, current resale prices, and rough annualized appreciation, along with the size comparison between phase 1 and Vindera. I can also share a custom scenario for you, for example, what your equity position could look like by handover if Vindera simply moves to the current Springs or Ranches 2 price per square footage. Send me a message and I'll walk you through the numbers in a private consultation so you can decide whether Vindera fits your strategy without any pressure to commit.